Can I just tell you that this is Desperately Seeking Soulmates Escaping Twin Flames Universe, and mine auto-corrected to Escaping Twin Flames University?
Oh, I thought it was going to say that it, like Monsters University. I thought you were going to say it auto-corrected to Desperately Seeking Susan.
Well, this is the play on Desperately Seeking Suze, right?
Yeah,
okay, just making sure.
I mean, I hope so. But Desperately Seeking Susan is a play on those personal ads.
Oh, right. I forgot. God.
We're meta.
Hey, Jillian Betzavali.
Oh, hello, Patrick Hines.
You got the look of finding the love of your life on your face.
Well, then I don't know why I'm here, because if we're talking about twin flames, that has nothing to do with finding the love of your life.
I know. Look, I'm so excited. This is my favorite thing that we get to do when we get to put up an episode from the Patreon. So this is episode 1 of our coverage of, what is the whole title of this thing?
It's Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping Twin Flames Universe. It's the one on Amazon, but I watched both and we talk about both in our coverage.
Yes, but it's just so wild. This is like the cultiest cult that ever culted, I feel like.
I mean, I think all cults are pretty on different levels. Like, are they drinking colloidal silver? No, but they're just as culty as the other one. They're still like abusive dingbats and bozos who are just the worst and think they know everything. And people want to find love in the world, and they're taking advantage of them. And I don't like that very much.
It's true. And we get a lot of ex-members, a lot of really smart people. This is just a really wild ride. So all of our coverage of Twin Flames is available right now and ad-free on Patreon. It's also where you can get over 500 full ad-free bonus episodes covering everything from like the Cult of Mother God to the Jinx Part 2, which we're in the middle of right now, the Jinx Part 1, which is like the most famous one that we did.
Yeah, Quiet on Set we just did.
Yeah.
We did a couple seasons of Wild Crime. We have one coming up too. The Wild Crime is it's a wild show, no pun intended. We're doing all of it. Lost Women of Highway 20. Like, we have all of those like long form series that are several episodes we got for you on the Pates.
Yeah. So patreon.com/truecrimeobsessed, or just go to our website, click on the Patreon link, but enjoy this like ad-free episode 1 of Twin Flames. It is wild. I was obsessed with Twin Flames when this was all happening like a couple years ago.
Yeah. Guess what? It's still happening. You can join it. Please don't join it. Please. In one of the episodes, I actually took the quiz on the website. I don't know what episode it is, but we'll get to it eventually. But enjoy this first episode.
Enjoy.
I met my twin flame, and it turned my entire world upside down.
We all understand this feeling of loneliness. We don't know where we belong, and we don't know how to rectify that.
I met someone, the one, my twin flame.
Twin flame.
Twin flame.
Twin flame.
I was looking up twin flames, and Jeff and Shaleia came right up.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Shaleia.
And we are authors of the book Twin Flames, Finding Your Ultimate Lover.
A twin flame is like a super spiritual soulmate.
Their promise was, you're going to end up in a relationship with your ultimate lover.
The classes were very expensive.
I started to notice weird things happening in the group.
They're surrounded by people who worship them.
I've had about enough of your disrespect of me.
It's getting pretty old.
They had so much power, it was very abusive.
Holy, holy, holy.
I've heard of many cases of people stalking their twin flame.
Show up every day at his house and drag him over to yours.
There's all this accusation that they pressure people into transitioning.
Coercing people to change their gender, would you say that you do that?
Absolutely and unequivocally not.
They would say, and you're the guy, and you're the girl, and that's your twin flame.
Got a message from God, and it's this person now.
I thought maybe this is a cult.
Jeff had a website.
$30 to cure a headache, all the way up to curing cancer.
They're qualified to do none of this.
Could I be the Christ?
They were making serious money off of our trauma.
The level of obsession, people continue to join the organization.
I'm not evil.
It's a gimmick. It's a business. A business is manipulating people.
And it's working.
Unconditional love is at the root of everything that we do.
So I also watched the Netflix series. I will fill you in on the Netflix series at the end of this one. Let's just focus on this one for now.
Yes.
And then at the end, I'll give you some facts that were not in this one, but were in the Netflix one. So if you're like annoyed that we're not mentioning something that the Netflix doc covered, just hold tight.
Yeah.
I will do my very best to mention it at the end. I love you so much, but we're going to focus on these 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But I did watch Netflix, so I'm totally aware.
I remember listening to the podcast when it came out. I was upset, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, and there are definitely things that Netflix mentions that this one doesn't. and vice versa, obviously.
Yeah.
But I have notes on the Netflix one too. I got your back. I got you on
Okay.
this. So just hold tight. And if there's something where it's like, yeah, but the Netflix one does this, we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah, we'll get there then.
I promise you.
All
I
right,
love
great.
you.
She's really on top of it, fam. She's like, this is a thing that is important to her, so just trust her.
Because I know everyone wants us to do both, but we can't do both. So I'm
both.
trying to do as best I can, kind of give everyone what they're
And you're looking
for.
good doing it. You know what I mean? You're welcome.
First of all, this episode 1, welcome to the party. Much like Love Has Won, this is not a party.
No.
There's no love with Love Has Won.
No,
There's no partying with these bozos. They are bozos. They're named Jeff and Shaleia.
Yeah.
And I guess we're going to dive in. Jeff has replaced Michael Barnett in my...
100%. He's actually scarier to me than Michael Barnett.
He is. He is a bozo, but he does...
Yeah.
There's a different kind of darkness in him.
100%. So we're going to London, England. We meet Lorraine, former member. I said Jillian loves a former.
Love it. And I love Lorraine because she says...
As a humanity, as a world, we all understand this feeling of loneliness.
People are very disillusioned with the process of dating.
We don't know where we belong and we don't know how to rectify that. And just by virtue of being Black African female, I know what it feels like to not feel like you belong.
She goes, look, as a Black woman...
A Black African female.
She says she totally knows how it feels to feel like she doesn't belong.
And I just want to say, so obviously Twin Flames is a cult.
Yes.
We were saying this all through the Mother God one and the Sarah Lawrence one. People join cults when they are, or people find themselves in cults when they are the most vulnerable.
Right.
And when you're feeling lonely, it's like that whole thing I was saying about when I was at college and like during orientation, they're like, don't join a cult, don't join a cult. Because like that's when you're most vulnerable. That's how this happens. You feel lonely and then somebody like these two idiots prey on you.
And I have a theory about why in a minute.
Yeah. But also when it comes to love, people feel very desperate and love or the lack thereof can make people feel very lonely.
That's a big societal thing that we put on people, especially women. Like that there is some kind of value or currency with being attached or in love. And that's just something we have to try to deprogram.
Yeah,
regardless.
100%.
Lorraine met a guy at school. She fell in love hard.
Yeah.
And then had the worst heartbreak of her life because this piece of shit cheated on Lorraine. Who cheats on Lorraine?
Nobody. But I said, poor thing, at least she's laughing now. You know what I mean?
Because she knows she's Lorraine. She's at the point where she's like, oh, I'm a total catch.
It's just like, who can't relate to this? Like, you fall in love so hard, and then for whatever reason, it doesn't work out.
The rug
and
gets pulled out
is
from
so
under you.
real.
So she
You know who you are.
Yeah. So she was trying to make sense of like being cheated on, like this betrayal, and not being able to feel better about it. So she starts looking for answers about why she couldn't get over him. Like, why can't I let go of this person? He's not good for me, but I'm still feeling this attachment.
Again, we've all been there.
So she's Googling and she keeps seeing the words twin flames. Now, the idea of a twin flame is coming up a lot in her research and she'd never heard of it, but she's like, you know what? Why? I'm hurting. This is a thing that's been around for a long time. Like, let me just see.
I wanted to ask you about this. I mean, maybe you don't know about this, but like, is like twin flames, was it invented? Was that expression invented by these two people?
No.
Okay.
No. We'll get into that a little bit.
All right, great.
So Jeff and Shaleia are two people who cannot stand each other. But for whatever reason, they have decided that they're experts on love and passion and twin flames. There is no love between these two. They tolerate each other at best.
It's so funny because I wasn't getting that from them in the beginning. I'm only like on episode 1, so I don't know that much. They really love their sexy time. And they
talk about it a lot, but there's no warmth there. There's no chemistry there. I don't see any spark.
Yeah, they seem mutually afraid of the other.
And they're very like nothing feels genuine, and I feel like there's a lot of tension and not the sexy kind.
Yeah, and again, I don't know much about much, but I do think that a lot of when if you watch her when he's talking, I think a lot of what he says makes her uncomfortable.
Yes, we'll see a lot of that because once again, like most cults in these times,
they record
everything's recorded. So we will see a lot of her reaction. There are times where she gets snippy with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we'll definitely get into that.
Okay.
But I don't see. I'm like, these are the people who are going to teach everyone about love and soulmates.
Right,
There's no warmth or love there at all.
No, but I will say that they're not like movie star gorgeous. So I think there is a relatability to them that's kind of like, wait a minute.
Of course.
Because like we're going to learn later, they were like the band nerds. Like they were like us. They were like you and me. Like there is a relatability to them that's like, wait a second. If they found the deepest, most meaningful connection of their lives, then I can too. Right. And I can see that working in their favor.
So Alice Hines, she spells it differently than
I
you.
know. I said no relation.
She spells it Hines.
Yes.
She's a journalist. And she's like, look, I gravitate toward the weird stories, the weird fringes of internet culture. And she writes a lot about how, quote, love is evolving, since there are all these new ways that people are relating to each other these days. So she stumbles upon Twin Flames Universe, which is the name of this organization cult.
Yeah.
And she joins the Facebook group just to kind of snoop around. And she's like, the level of obsession really blew her away, like, immediately. People were so invested.
It seems like a cool spiritual community from all over the world sharing tips to fall in love. There was clearly a lot of adoration around the two founders, Jeff and Shaleia, who say that they have a unique connection and channel to God. Jeff and Shaleia literally say, God told us who your perfect partner is, and we will help you find them.
Like, she's saying people from all over the world are sharing tips about how to fall in love. And, like, that's, like, where they get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're, like, a lonely person who's never, like, been in love and you want to be in love, especially as you're getting maybe just, like, into your 20s or 30s. And, like, all of a sudden you're in a place where they're like, we got you. We are, like, we guarantee you we are going to find you your soulmate.
Yeah. And it's not just about that people are excited. There's a lot of adoration for Jeff and Shaleia.
Yes.
Like, they claim to have a direct connection to God. Again, this never works. God is speaking to them about you.
Yes.
And your love all the time. And I'm like, okay.
And Alice is like, when I got in there, I knew I had found my idea for my next article.
So let's go to Madison, New York.
Yeah.
And we're with Arcelia. And she, quick note, she is the only person in both documentaries.
Oh, is that right?
She is. I don't know how she swings that.
Oh,
but she's in
interesting.
both. So she's working at a gas station in the middle of nowhere in New York State. She describes the town as conservative and rednecky.
Her words, not ours.
Yep. She has this gorgeous German Shepherd. Wish I knew their name.
She says, I was feeling very alone. That's important.
And she says that she's always been a spiritual person. And she says it's a fundamental part of who I am. Side note, there's this like amazingly witchy photo of her in the woods with her friends.
Oh my, yeah.
Their outfits.
I know. She seems witchy. Like, she seems like one of us.
And I think she's wearing that dress from the photo in her interview. And I'm like,
really?
Arcelia, where did you get that? Like, where did your friend in the middle, where did she get that dress? Like, I was like, oh my God, they're just like witchy women in the woods doing their thing. And it's awesome, right? So 2016 into 2017, for her New Year's resolution, she's like, I'm going to let someone in for the first time. And a month later, she says she meets her, quote, twin flame.
Now, can I just say something really quickly?
Yeah.
I'm in support of this. When I met Steve, I decided when I turned 28 that I was going to meet my husband.
Really?
I am very in support of, like, I want to be in a relationship. I'm going to go out and find the relationship. I believe in magic and I believe in, like, love and I believe in all of that stuff. But I also believe that, like, if you want to find a person, go out and find a person.
Did you feel like you had walls up?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I just felt like I hadn't really made it a priority, even though it's what I wanted.
Okay.
So for my 28th year, I decided I was going to make it a priority to, like, find a relationship.
Interesting. So your eyes were open to different things.
I was going to date all around. I got on Match.com. I was like, I'm going to go out on a date with anybody who wants to go on a date with me.
Wow.
Whether I'm like, whatever. I was going to go out with anybody. I was going to actively look for people too.
Got it.
And I met
You
Steve.
changed your mindset.
Yep. And it worked. Within a year, I found the man that I married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, here's something about Arcelia. She's a trans woman.
Yes.
And she explains that she falls in love with this super conservative guy. And she's like, what? This isn't me. Like, why am I connected to this person?
I mean, imagine being in his shoes, being in a conservative area and actually being into a trans woman. Why do I feel connected to a person like this? Like, this just isn't me. I don't want to be involved with somebody like that. I ended up searching online for what is this? What is going on? And I stumble across the term twin flames. What the fuck are twin flames?
Now, here's just a thought I had about what we were talking about earlier. Like, I think part of the reason this is happening these days, love has won, twin flames, we're constantly Googling things.
Yeah.
And like, we have access to all this information, and the internet is a place where anyone with any opinion can post something. So like, I know, like, hot take, but I'm just like, stay with me. Like, the combination of being able to Google absolutely everything and then getting results from anyone and everything.
Yeah.
Anywhere that has an idea. Like, sometimes that's very awesome and sometimes it's very dangerous. And I think we're learning, like, if you think about the timeline of Love Has Won and Twin Flames, it's all people who are actively Googling Googling and searching for something. And then this thing is just here.
Yeah.
They're not recruiting people in the real world. It's happening online.
Alice says at some point, Alice, the journalist, is like, it was social media and like the proliferation of the internet that made the Twin Flames universe so big. Without it, it wouldn't have existed.
And this idea that it can be fixed right now. Right now.
Yes,
and this is the answer right now. Like we have spaceships in our pockets. We can find anything and get anything now.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're seeing so many of these kinds of cults specifically. It's the internet.
Because you can find people to prey on, and people who are easy prey are like have the world at their fingertips.
And you walk into, it's not like in the 60s where you would walk into like like the one vegan restaurant in the country and there'd be 4 people.
Yeah.
You go to a Facebook group with thousands of people in there and you're like, oh my God, like what have I been missing? The skepticism is kind of gone because there are so many voices repeating the same thing. You don't really have to be convinced. You're ready to join.
Especially in an echo chamber of a Facebook group like this,
100%.
full of zealots, you know?
100%.
They're telling you everything you want to hear. That's how that works.
Now, let's talk about twin flames for a second. Twin flame is more than just a soulmate because there's like a divine connection to it. And this connection is supposed to span multiple lifetimes. And celebrities talk about it a lot. I'm going to break this down. So they use an example, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. They're use that
currently on a break.
They're no longer together.
Yeah.
An interview came out with Megan Fox where she said, and I quote, now they called each other twin flames. They are not together. Megan Fox said today, I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice to single women because my advice is just learn a skill or develop a hobby and do not waste your energy on boys. All they're going to do is drain you. Just move on, invest in yourself.
I mean, good advice, Megan Fox.
Another example they use of twin flames, Ryan Gosling had to file a restraining order because a fan thought he was her twin flame.
Yes.
Taylor Swift mentions a twin flame in the all too well 10-minute version from The Vault. She wrote that song when she was 21 and it's about an abusive relationship. So I don't know. Doesn't seem like great examples or like glowing endorsements of this very intense, obsessive connection.
When we find out the tenets of how you're supposed to get your twin flame. It's not good.
Now, that being said, Arcelia and Lorraine Google what they're going through and the results speak to them.
It sort of made sense because it described a lot of the things that I was feeling towards the sky, you know, this irrational connection towards someone, and they seem like this other part of you that you can't let go of. And why shouldn't there be someone who is the exact partner that I seek? Why should that not be available in the world?
I just want the one. You know what I mean? Why have all the bullshit when you could just have the one person?
And these people, this is a community of people who understand that she's not lonely because it's a community. They've all been through it. It's one of those things where if you haven't lived through it, it's hard to explain. She doesn't have to explain anything. This is just there. It's just support. These people want everyone to be in love. What's so bad about that?
Right. And like, you know, Arcelia is like, I wanted the one. I want to find just the one. Like that is a universal thing that many people
And she
feel.
wants Lorraine to find the one. And Lorraine wants Carly to find the one because we're in Akron, Ohio with Carly.
Yes.
And Carly says, my family life was not very good growing up. She explains that her biological mom left when Carly was 11. And then like the stepmom came in.
With a ruling force, she says.
And she says, I've been through a lot of trauma, but it's what has made me me.
Yes.
And again, in searching for, I'm sure she's feeling unlovable, which is not true, Carly. But she stumbles on twin flames.
Of course.
She wants help. And the SEO, I'm sorry to get nerdy about it, all of the keywords on their website are for these kinds of things.
Yeah, but they're also promising deliverables. They're like, follow our system and you will find the twin flame.
You will be happy.
They are guaranteeing it.
Yes. That guarantee is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Jeff and Shaleia live on YouTube. They are chronically online and they have all of these YouTube videos. And they wanted to be influencers. They just, at first, they didn't even really care what kind.
Yes.
Because Jeff was a gamer, Shaleia was doing makeup tutorials, and Alice, our journalist, is like, at first they talk about like women's magazine stuff, like with a new age spin. And I'm like, oh, so stuff you read in Cosmo like 25 years ago.
But things that people still love, like, you know what I mean? Like everyone still takes those quizzes.
Yeah, how to get back with your ex.
Exactly.
It's like, run.
Right.
Back with your ex. Never in my life have I wanted to get back with an ex.
But these videos that they're making are getting up to 100,000 views. So like Alice is like, they were tapping into something. People were listening to what they were saying.
Did you hear the Love Has Won one. So at one point, Jeff says, amazing 5D twin flame sex techniques.
Yes.
I'm like, we're back in the 5D. I'm not going back to the 5D. I'm not going. Shaleia goes, the first time we ever made love, I cried for like an hour straight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
They get really creepily.
I also just don't believe that.
No, but they're talking about like how deep and passionate their sex is. And I'm like, why? It feels like listening to your parents talk about sex.
Because it's so fake.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not feeling... It feels like they just want to be the cool, sexy people, but I'm not getting it.
It's interesting. I was kind of getting it there. Like, I don't know. They seem like it's like with Mother God and Jason, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
You kind of could see how they were kind of into each other.
You know who should be running this? This is such an old reference, but do you remember like the Lover sketch from SNL where it was Rachel Dratch?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're going to be this new agey twin flamey, be all over it. Let me see it.
Yes,
and like that Lovers sketch is more like when I was like, oh, twin flames, like, let's see, because I listen to the podcast or whatever. And then it's like, let's see. And it's like, you get eyes on these two and you're like, them?
I know.
These two bozos?
I know.
Who are like also much too young to have any like real life experience.
Oh, and we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So Lorraine says, for her, she was drawn in because the whole thing was focused on you first. Work on yourself, be your best self, and the partner would be the consequence. And I'm like, that's all great.
Yes.
That's not what this is.
No.
They want you to think that's what it is, but it's very quickly not what that. Because of course, like, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
But also the only way you can learn how to love yourself is by signing up for their classes.
And paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they have this private series, the Twin Flame Ascension School.
Yes.
And if you want to take your journey to that next step, you have to pay.
Right. You buy a subscription to their classes.
Right. And very culty. All the numbers are like $333, $555.
Oh, funny.
Or a session, or like a package will start at $3,333. Some of these packages are $8,888.
I mean, it's crazy too because it's not actual like it's basically
it's a Zoom hang.
It's a Zoom hang that has been recorded and put up for you to watch.
Right.
And
so like they describe the classes as therapeutic reality shows, and Jeff is like, this is where he starts being insufferable.
It's so gross.
Welcome back to Twin Flame Ascension School. As always, a juicy class in store for you today. As always, a juicy class in store for you today.
He would always start the class with, welcome to another juicy Twin Flame Ascension School class.
People are in a group on Zoom talking about their problems, getting advice from Jeff and Shaleia, hoping to resolve their traumas, resolve their issues.
He starts each class by saying that it's juicy.
It's going to be
like,
a juicy class in store for you today.
And then it's like juicy. They do like a montage of it. So like it was like group therapy, but sometimes they'd focus on one person to bully and harass.
Yes.
Sometimes it would be more of a group thing. Sometimes like it was never 100% the same every time.
No,
so you never knew.
But it's also not a class. It's not like it's not like here's how you get better. It was just a Zoom hang where you're watching somebody else's therapy session.
Or sometimes it would be you. Like,
Yeah.
no, you can't prepare for it
Right.
because because he would prey on who is the most vulnerable in the moment.
Exactly.
He can't say what it's going to be.
No.
Also, what are your qualifications?
Right.
You have none.
None. So I learned a new word today because Arcelia says I was stuck in a state of limerence.
Yes, it's a great word.
It up. Well, I was like, what? The definition is the state of being infatuated or obsessed with another person, typically experienced involuntarily and characterized by a strong desire for reciprocation of one's feelings, but not primarily for a sexual relationship. I did not relate to that at all.
No.
I don't live in that state.
Yeah, no. You know how it's like, it's not like soulmate, it's twin flames. It's
Yes.
not obsession, it's limerence.
Yes, limerence.
It's like a
I was
totally,
like, whoa.
it's a real heavy word.
Yes.
Limerence.
Because the word obsession really stood out to me. It's not love. You're not like having a mutual experience with somebody.
It's an
You're obsessed with
obsession.
somebody.
And there's a goal.
Yes.
There's like, you win the
Yeah.
obsession. You
Yes,
get, there's
yes.
something to like fight for. Not like, oh, fighting for love. Like, that's
no,
great.
that's
but
what they want you to think that you're doing.
it's not.
Yeah.
And they want you to think it's like, I
It's
just have to
control
love
and
me
ownership.
first.
Yeah.
And then, no. That's not what this is.
Right.
So Arcelia says like, the classes did help her with some confidence issues that she had.
Yes.
And at first she did notice results because of course, like it starts with reflection on yourself or
Exactly.
like because they're taking just like tried and true. It's like cognitive behavioral therapy. It's therapy.
Because you feel like you're working on yourself.
And you're
going to
being
see
heard.
Exactly.
You're talking about something that's bothering you.
Yep.
Everybody feels good after that. Like, and if Jeff, I don't know if he lets other people speak to each other, but to feel seen by someone who's like, you were cheated on too, where I was, or finding a common ground, of course you're going to feel better.
And they do feel casual. They don't feel culty, right?
Right.
Because they're laughing and they're swearing and they're like, it's basically getting online with your friends to talk about your shitty relationship.
And he's like hoovering you, which is like trying to like love bomb you to make it be like, oh, like fuck that guy. I can't believe he cheated on you.
Yeah.
But it's all to suck you in. It's not like, it's not about you. It's about your money.
Right.
So, and they record all of these sessions. So now they're like, there's this library of all these videos, right? And they're like 90 minutes long.
The thing that we get into that I think is really important, we'll get more into it in a little bit, is that Alice, the journalist, is saying that like Jeff was a business person. He wanted to start a business, and this was an opportunity to do that. She says this was infinitely scalable.
Right.
Because if you put out these classes and say like, this is how you're going to find your twin flame, they're just there, and like the more subscribers you get, the more money you're gonna make.
And it's like Scientology, where it's like, well, you have to take this one class and then you graduate to the next. And Jeff and Shaleia have a quote ironclad guarantee that says,
your journey is yours, and no one can do it for you. However, we do have a very solid ironclad guarantee. We guarantee harmonious union with your true twin flame as a result of this class.
that is a truly insane, ridiculous, impossible thing to guarantee.
Especially
that is impossible.
Because we'll learn later that harmonious union is like not even just love. Harmonious union is like the exalted position of being in complete balance with your soulmate.
And that's what they coined.
Yeah.
Twin flames, the idea of a twin flame has been around for a very long time, but their harmonious union, that's their special sauce.
Julian told me today, you can sign up for this right now.
Oh, today.
They're still at it. They're doing it right now.
Please don't.
No, yeah.
You are so worthy of love.
Yes.
You are amazing. Please, please, please don't do this. Please. Because Arcelia says, after all these classes, I started having these weird dreams about this person. And I'm like, of course you are. You're talking about them constantly. You're thinking about them constantly. That's not weird, but it's also not a sign it's working.
Exactly.
And I'm not yelling at Arcelia. I'm warning everyone else who can come after her.
Yes.
Obviously, you're dreaming about them.
Well, because this is where we learn that the person that Arcelia is talking about, that in the beginning she's making it sound like they knew each other and there was some sort of mutual connection. This is just a guy that is coming into the gas station where she works.
Yes.
She doesn't seem to know him.
She doesn't. We will get more into that.
Yeah.
She explains
I got so worried for her when I heard that, especially as a trans woman in like a red part of New York State.
Yes. Yes.
Oof.
But they're telling you, like Jeff and Shaleia will say, and we see this in cults all the time, like, all you have to do is choose love. It's you are doing something, and we will get into this exercise that they do that is total self-blaming. It really, they teach you how to gaslight yourself and break yourself down. But the entire thing is like, well, of course you haven't found love. You didn't choose it yet.
Right. Yeah.
Of course he cheated on you. You're not choosing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's your fault, Lorraine.
Yeah.
And like, no, it's not. Lorraine's awesome. He cheated. He's wrong. It's the best thing that ever happened to Lorraine because she's out. That idiot's not in her life anymore, and now she can be happy.
But then Lorraine is saying it did start to work because the guy that I really liked came over. We reconnected. He comes over. I told him about twin flames. He's totally in agreement with it. And she's like, and she takes it to them, and they're like, of course it's working for you because you are doing the work.
Right. And we see, and this is proof, we can fix all your problems.
Exactly.
Everybody else, tell your friends and give us $8,888. So, and it's like, Alice, the journalist, is like, the thing about them is, like they're accessible. They're not intimidating. I'm like, okay, they're not intimidating, but they're annoying and smug.
Yes.
And insufferable.
But I think you see past that. Imagine the thing you want the most in the world and you give it a goog and you find the people that are going to promise to give it to you. You're in pain. They, like I was saying earlier, they look approachable. They don't look scary. They don't look like cult leaders. They look confident and like they love each other and like you can have what they have.
Well, can we talk to Eric?
Please.
Eric Rogers is Jeff's childhood best friend.
I mean,
Eric has stories. We'll see him again next week.
I think Eric cannot, like, his mind is blown.
So Eric tells us about Jeff and his childhood.
Yeah, shares a lot of, like, their home movies.
So they were born and raised in Lapeer, Michigan, and went to middle school and high school together. Jeff was the class clown. They met in 8th grade science class. So Jeff always wanted to have a lot of money.
I don't think he knew exactly what he wanted to do, but the style of life he wanted to live. He was very into investing, becoming self-sustaining financially. It was a huge focus of his. He wanted to build something of his own, but he didn't, at least at that point in time, have an exact idea of what that was.
He didn't really know what he wanted his career to be. He didn't have a passion for anything other than
making money.
And a lot of it.
And this is such important backstory because this is what's happening. He doesn't believe he can find your twin flame. He believes he can bamboozle you into giving him your money.
And he knows he doesn't work well with others because he wants to build something of his own and have the money come directly to him. It's not like he wants to find some great company and work his way up and then become... No. He wants to just like start a scheme.
Right.
It's very clear.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what it is or what it's about, but like the new age shit usually works. Like really, that's what he's thinking.
It's why you have to question everything. You know what I mean? It's
true.
why when you find any kind of guru,
I know.
You gotta wonder what's in it and get the fucking backstory.
I know.
You know?
I know.
Yeah. And now we meet Ellen,
who's Jeff's ex-girlfriend.
I know.
And where did they meet?
In Drama Club.
Of course they did.
I kind of love her because she says, I saw him and she was like, who is this person? How can I be in his orbit? Like
she said the charisma off the charts.
Yes.
And she goes, he loved love. It was like being in a John Hughes movie and she was
I
Molly
was
Ringwald and he was Judd Nelson. I'm like, he's Anthony Michael Hall at best.
100%.
So after college, Jeff decides to move to Hawaii. He has no plan. He'll figure it out when he gets there. And okay, it's after college. Sure.
Yes. And he starts out travel blogging. Then he decides he wants to be a life and career coach.
He's 25 years old.
I know.
A life coach?
And his friend is like, what kind of meaningful like advice can you give to anybody? And he's like, I don't care if people want it.
So it's 2012 and he starts this travel blog, Ender's Adventures.
Yes.
And the name comes from Ender's Game, which is the Orson Scott Card novel. I know nothing about it.
It's all a foreign language.
Eric Rogers just told me about
it.
That's it. But he would add like ethos to everything. So his name is Ender Ian Ethos.
Yes.
And he says, don't waste your time on coaching programs if you want to coach. Coach first. You can learn the rest as you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I am very into learn by doing, but not when it comes to coaching somebody else's life.
No.
Like, you don't know what you're a 25-year-old. I'm sorry. You don't know shit.
No.
You don't know enough to coach someone else about their life at 25 years old. Give me a break.
For money. And he
money.
keeps changing his name. And it's just absurd.
And it's all like appropriating names like Shafira Ion Ethos. Like, shut up. And every time he changes his name, it's his one true name.
Right.
And I'm like, girl, Drama Club is down the hall. We don't have time for this. Like, these are people's lives.
I know.
And their like emotional livelihood.
But where are the people in his life telling him to knock it the fuck off?
He just drops them.
Totally.
Like, he just doesn't have time for that.
Because it's also like, then be an entrepreneur. Go make a company. Go build something. That's fine. But like, how good can it feel waking up every day knowing you're lying to people?
Or trying to find out what the lie is.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't relate. So he has like super long hair now. Someone's like, you look like Greek Jesus.
I know.
And so he meets Shaleia Plant. Her name is Megan Plant.
Right.
And it's Shaleia. So these two bozos, they're bozos for now and forever. I don't know. I felt very inspired to use that word about these two.
Bozos.
I don't know.
I love it.
Like, I don't know. But
they're clowns.
They are clowns.
Yeah.
So these two were introduced by a friend online, and then they met in person.
Yeah, and things move really quickly. We learn about her. She's originally from Canada. She was born Megan Plant. They say she was
Shaleia Plant.
Shaleia Plant.
Megan Plant.
Right. Exactly.
Give me a break.
She was always a spiritual seeker, looking for a more true identity. Like, whatever. We meet her dad.
Her father is here.
Megan was raised Catholic. She would go through the motions and she would want to believe, in part because we believed. Her mother especially was a very devout Catholic. When Madeline and I divorced, Megan was about 10. And then when I immigrated to the United States, Megan was about 12. And so I became a distant father. It was very, very difficult. And when her mom died from cancer, Megan was about 15.
So there's like a lot of distance, a lot of strife, a lot of trauma that happened in very formative years.
Yes.
And her father calls her Megan. He's like, I'm not calling her Shaleia.
Right.
Then we meet Angela Simpson, who's Megan Shaleia's former friend.
Former friend. Yeah.
And she confirms that Megan Shaleia, like so many of us, she was really into like connections and chosen family. You know how I feel about chosen family, right? So she believes, Angela, the friend, believes that Shaleia feels, quote, with every fiber of her being that Jeff is her twin flame. Now, Angela knows better than I do, clearly.
Yes.
But I think at least a little bit she hates Jeff.
Well, 100%. The thing is, like, so this is the part where Jeff is talking about their sex life and really talking about it.
When we have sex, we go really deep with our sex, and it becomes extraordinarily intimate and loving. And what happens is the rest of our life, a whole lot of stuff starts to happen on the outside because so much is happening on the inside. So what we found out when we were doing card readings and talking to Divine Mother is that our sex is a tool for our ascension.
I think it's like the beginning of any relationship. I think like there are chemicals in your body that make you feel crazy, that make you feel infatuated, that make you feel like you found your person for forever and ever and ever. Like that's what this feels like to me.
And they fed each other in a way they needed because they just want to make money.
Because what we learn is that it's Megan / Shaleia or whatever who introduces Jeff to the idea of twin flames. He didn't know about that before he met her.
Right.
And I think it was when he learns this concept of twin flames.
And he makes it his entire personality.
Ka-ching, ka-ching. He realizes right here is an opportunity to like package and sell this to people who are looking for something.
Right. So let's talk about Katrina and Anne. Katrina and Anne are a major part of this.
Yeah.
They are two women in a relationship. They met in college, but they went to different schools. They are not interviewed together. And I thought, and then as I wrote that, I was like, that probably doesn't mean anything. I don't know if I'd want to be interviewed together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
You know
nothing.
where this is going more than I do, so I didn't really think about that. But what we learned is that, like, they fell in love in college, but then they both decided they couldn't come out of the closet.
Right. So they're talking about this amazing connection, like real soulmate stuff. And like, believe Katrina and Anne, they're legit, right?
Yeah.
So deep and so real, like all of these photos of them being happy and in love. And I believe them because they fell in love before twin flames. That's very, very, very important.
Yes.
They decided not to come out and they both ended up in heterosexual relationships. Over 20 years, they would reconnect from time to time, but neither of them had the courage to say, I love you. Like, like you are my person, but and the deeper they got into this heterosexual relate with their families and their kids and whatever.
Kids.
But finally, Anne does it.
Yes.
Anne calls Katrina. Katrina goes, she called me and she professed her love. Katrina was pregnant with her second baby with a man.
Yes.
And Anne's like, I can't take it anymore. The words are coming out of my mouth. I'm in love with you. I've always been in love with you. Like, what? This is the worst. What are we going to do?
I love it so
What are we
much,
gonna do?
Anne.
Because they do love their husbands. They do love their family. They're
Yep.
here, but they realize, like,
Life is short.
I want my life to be with you. Like, oh my God.
Yes.
So they didn't know what to do. And they were in straight families. And so they Googled like keywords. And this is where the SEO, the internet keywords come into play. Because they were in like, you know, so I want to be with my soulmate, but like all of these words, they found love.
Yes.
They found love twice, which is kind of amazing because they do love their families.
Yeah.
They weren't asking for help in their relationship. They were asking for like, we are in love. She is my soulmate, but this is a really sticky situation and we need help navigating it. And that's how they stumble upon twin flames. But like, they are already in love. They don't need these bozos.
Right.
But the bozos are going to use them. So this is why it's important, right?
Yep.
So, but either way, Anne's like, this is kind of close enough. They would be open to talking to them and buy some FaceTime sessions just to see like a sounding board. And I'm sure the website's like, we're therapists and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
I feel like these women are just like, well, we got the twin flame. That part's easy. Now we just have to navigate this mess.
Totally.
You are strong because of what I gave to you. I gave you that gift, and yes, you called for it, but without me, we could not have done that.
They were like, you are twin flames. Then they did a meditation with us, and at the end of the meditation, they pronounced us in harmonious twin flame union. Twin flame union is out there on the internet, like lots of people use that, but harmonious twin flame union was their extra special twin flame union.
So they confirm that Katrina and Anne are twin flames.
But they're not just twin flames. They're harmonious they have a harmonious twin flame union.
And that is the special TM.
Yes.
Harmonious twin flame union is the Jeff and Shaleia thing.
Right. And that's like, anyone can have a twin flame, but a harmonious twin flame union, and that's when they decide, like, that's when Jeff and Shaleia decide, like, they're going to be our poster children for, like, selling this, get to the harmonious twin flame union.
Right. Except Jeff and Shaleia didn't do anything.
Right.
This harmonious union reunion came on a silver platter to them, and they are exploiting it.
Yes.
Because they were craving this kind of support that they were getting. Because
Right.
they're like, they use the term blow up our lives. We were ready to blow up everything, to be together. It was 20 years in the making. This is how important it was.
Yeah.
And they had a Zoom full of people saying, fuck yes, go.
And everybody
Go.
wants this. Everyone's looking at what they have thinking, we want that. And Jeff and Shaleia are like, we're the only ones who can get you there.
Even though they were already in love.
Exactly.
They came fully formed.
Yes.
That cannot be ignored because that's a major part. But Jeff and Shaleia are like, if you stay with us, you can be Katrina and Ann.
Yeah.
Just look at Katrina and Ann. But
Exactly.
it's like, you didn't do anything.
Right.
You
right,
didn't
right.
do
Yeah.
anything. They suffered for 20 years in love with
Yeah.
someone and having all this stuff and like being married and being happily married, but still always worried. No. You
Yes.
did nothing.
Did
they
nothing.
came to you.
Yes.
Wild, right?
Wild, yes.
So Brianna is a current member. She is the only current member we've met so far.
But we don't even meet her.
Right. But everyone we've learned about is
Yes.
former members.
It took me a minute. I like have it in big letters, current member. So we're going to Boston where we meet Brianna's mother, Lynn.
And I'm like, oh no.
I know.
So Brianna's not here. She's a current member and we're meeting her family. Shit.
So we learn about Brianna that she was like a fun-loving, adorable, energetic kid, like voracious reader, amazing at music. She wrote her own music. She played every single instrument.
She was vivacious. She was starting playing piano at 5 years old. She graduated from the Honors College with a music degree. She plays piano, guitar. She sings. Her mom goes, she has gifts beyond.
But
and
then,
I believe it. She sounds awesome.
Totally. Her Aunt Lisa is here. And she's like, but then something changed.
And then all of a sudden, she seemed to be looking inward. And I think it was a time in her life where she just had a lot of questions, more questions than answers, which is typical of a 20-something-year-old.
I guess she always felt something was missing in her life. She started looking on the internet for soulmates and that kind of thing, and came across Twin Flames Universe.
She just felt like she was missing something.
Yes.
And it might have been a situation where, like, she's excellent in all these things, but was it feeding her?
Right.
Like, was her passion for it there just because she's good at playing piano? But she's been doing it her whole life. I totally understand that, right?
Yep.
And once again, she Googles and finds Twin Flames, and people are so desperate for answers immediately. And so they find these cults.
Right. And so she's saying to her mother, like, I found this, I'm going to do this amazing therapy program with this, like, program of people. And the mom is like, hang on a second. Who are these therapists? Are they licensed?
Are they
What are their
certified, or are they
credentials?
two bozos with a YouTube account?
Right. And she and that's when Brienne says to her, like, they're not really counselors, they're life coaches.
And then, which is fine.
Yeah.
Life coach, fine. But like, this is where she starts becoming withdrawn.
Yes.
She was happy and singing all the time and not anymore. And she only wants to talk about Twin Flames. And she wants her brothers to join Twin
And
Flames.
the brothers are so concerned. They go to the mom and they're like, Mom, she's being really weird about this. Like, she's demanding that we know about this. Like, something is going on here.
So we call in the big guns. We call Aunt Cheryl.
Aunt Cheryl.
Aunt Cheryl works in cybersecurity. She starts calling all her connections. She goes, I call every asset I had available. She calls them assets. Cheryl, you don't fuck with Cheryl.
You don't fuck with Cheryl.
And Cheryl goes, I Googled. And so she calls Brianna's mom and she goes, okay, there's a lot more to it. This isn't just like you take a course and you're done. They are sucking her in. This is a lifetime thing and it's a lot of money.
Yes, it's a lot of money and it's like, you're going to lose your kid. Like, we need to do something about this right now.
If she's acting this way now, it's not just the website. It's also Brianna's behavior.
Because we learn that Brianna had met a guy in college and they had dated briefly and that he moved away. And the mom, Lynn, says, like, he stayed in her heart.
He stayed in her heart for many years.
Look,
the
I had
who
one
got
of those.
away.
Yes, my God, it's been 30 years. I still think about this guy.
Right.
And she's saying that, like, Brianna was the me. She's sending him books and she's sending him things that, like, makes her think of him. And it just, like, there wasn't any communication coming back from him.
And that's what the mom says.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of, because all of this lived online. So Brianna's going to the Facebook group to look for support. So we see screenshots. He doesn't respond to my text, but I know he wants to see me. I know in my heart he's my true twin flame and we're meant to be together. There is no stopping me or us. Her mother says she was encouraged strongly to pursue him aggressively.
So
that sentence, strongly and aggressively in the same breath.
If it is in your heart to claim your twin flame, it is your responsibility to claim them.
Right.
If you think it should be in their heart, you're wrong. It's in yours. Claim.
The energy was there to be more of like the aggressor, because one of the things you see a lot in twin flames is a push-pull dynamic where the twin flame is a runner and the other one would be a chaser.
Just imagine the twin flames people were saying this to a man about a woman. Pursue her aggressively.
Strong. Go show up to where she works, where she lives. Don't take no for an answer.
They're saying, like, take his stuff and put it in your house. And that's what he wants you to do anyway. Like, this is scary, scary, scary shit.
It should be, we will meet some men later, but it should be noted that we've only met women.
And they're even saying, Jeff is saying, you might think it should be in their heart, but you're wrong. Claim them. Claim them.
And they're wrong for not wanting you.
Yes.
You want it, go get it. No
I think
what.
It even means they're wrong that they don't want you.
That's what I mean.
They do want you. They just don't know that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to force them to know that.
Yeah.
So Brianna takes off work for a week and she goes to a town in Maine, quote, where I know he either lives or lives very close to. This is my harmonious twin flame union and I claim it completely. Just in terms...
She wrote that in the Facebook group. That is directly from Brianna.
And what is very scary about this is that she is not seeing things clearly.
Right.
She is not living in reality and she is going to a state she's not from with no plan.
Yeah.
She's wandering the streets looking for this person.
But she's also going to we don't know anything about this guy. We don't know what it's going to take to push him over the edge for him to do something crazy.
It's dangerous.
She's being encouraged to do things to push this man in a way that he does not want to be pushed.
And he has made it very clear for years that he is not interested in her.
Yes.
Now, Jeff and Shaleia, like you were saying, are constantly telling people to cross boundaries.
Yes.
To barrel right through them, to burn them down.
Yep.
Boundaries don't exist. And people would be broken up with and join their group and be told, no. God told us. We have a direct connection to God. That's why this is so expensive.
Yep.
We're really, really good at this. We have all these guarantees. God told us that he's your twin flame. You got to pursue them.
You got to pursue him.
And if you really take a step back, God is saying that he's out there.
Yeah.
God is saying that she's out there.
Right.
It always comes from a person saying, I was broken up with, I was cheated on, I haven't heard from this person in years. And just because this person says, I still like them or I still feel for them, Jeff and Shaleia are like, go get it. It's never saying, you know what, forget them. That's not your twin flame.
Right.
Let's help you find somebody new. The whole point is to harass someone who's made it clear they don't want to be with you.
Because we're seeing the communication from the other side. We're seeing the men being like, you're crazy, I'm blocking you.
Right.
They're getting blocked on Facebook.
They're getting charged with stalking and harassment.
Yes. And Jeff and Shaleia are like,
legally
it's working.
charged.
It's working. You're breaking them down.
But my thing is like, Jeff and Shaleia, to what end?
Right.
Like, is it really to manipulate people for money? Because you could do that without getting them arrested.
Yeah.
Or put in dangerous situations, which is what you're doing.
Right.
So this is one hell of a power trip for the money because...
I also think it gets to a point where you start to believe your own bullshit.
Yeah.
They start to believe that they have a direct connection to God.
And they're bullying people like, do you really want to be a person who doesn't take action? Like,
exactly.
Is that the kind... can you look in yourself in the mirror
I
anymore?
know. We see them on a Zoom with a woman who they're saying to her...
If he doesn't respond, what will you do?
I don't know.
You tell him send nudes.
I don't want to feel like I'm sexually harassing, though.
Sexually harass him!
Okay.
He's a gamer, dude. You're a hot girl. Be like, what's up? I'm taking a class so I can get laid. Wanna come over? You doing it right now? You messaging him right now?
Yep.
Good.
There you go.
Then the person would be like, okay, and get their phone and do it in real time.
Yes.
And then she'd be like, oh, he blocked me.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
like the cops are at my door.
Right.
Truly, that's stuff that's happening. So people are stalking their twin flames. They're getting twin flames, whatever. I'm using their terms. Stalking these people who've made it clear they're not interested.
Yeah.
They're getting arrested. They're getting blocked on social media. And then people are saying, literally, my twin flame blocked me and hates me. What do I do?
Yes.
I'm still having a hard time clearing the upset around my twin flame filing a restraining order.
Yes.
They are openly saying this in the Facebook group. We have screenshots of all of them.
And nothing is shaking these people out of it. And Brianna is in it right now as we're watching this.
Yeah. And Alice, the journalist, is like, this is what coercion looks like. This
Exactly.
is what spiritual manipulation is. Jeff's like, show up at his motherfucking door, bust it down, steal his stuff, carry his things in your purse with him so that he's always close with you.
It's crazy.
And so next time on, shit gets even weirder because now they get into matchmaking.
Yeah.
And things get even worse. And there's lots of manipulation and bullying and harassment. And it's just really dangerous. And it feels like it's so clear that it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Once you get arrested.
Start with getting blocked on Facebook. You know what I mean? But once you're getting arrested, and then I know what's to come is so
You know,
insane.
and it's just like, like you're saying, like, when is someone going to snap?
Right.
It's like you're showing up, like, it's scary. You're showing up in Maine.
Right.
I didn't tell you where I live. We haven't spoken in 3 years.
Right.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Oh, fam, thanks for checking out episode 1 of what's it called?
It's
Twin
called
Flames?
Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping Twin Flames Universe, BARF or whatever. It sucks.
Barfarama.
Barfarama.
It just gets crazier and crazier. All of our episodes are available right now and ad-free over on the Patreon. As you know, you can get over 500 full ad-free bonus episodes, including our coverage of The Jinx Parts 1 and Part 2. We're in the middle of that right now. You know, we did everything from like The Staircase to Serial Season 1 to like Lacey Peterson documentary to the John Wayne Gacy series. Everything that's ever been on Netflix or Hulu or Max or whatever.
Yeah, everything that's like 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's patreon.com/truecrimeobsessed, or just go to our website, click on the Patreon link, and we love you.
And we love you, but we really love you. Please don't join Twin Flames. I'm begging you. Please don't.
No,
Stay safe out there, everyone. Please.
Don't do it.
We love you.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.